Nonverbal communication is unique in the fact that they hold many forms. People can communicate with each other any way they want without having to directly speak with each other. One of the most prominent ways in which people do this is to use technology. Whether it be Facebook or the latest Apple tech, people can connect with each other instantaneously and more efficiently than before. Although technological communication has endless possibilities and is relatively new, there is still one mode that has persistently been around during this new age of development, morphs. Morphs are massive multiplayer role-playing games as an online game that allows over thousands of players to connect with each other and play in the game's universe as a playable character. Morphs have a variety of genres to achieve this goal and an equally varied audience. A recent study by Springer Science Business Media performed a study examining the outreach morphs have and what audience are playing them. According to the data, 50% of morph players work full-time, 22% were full-time students, another 22% had children, and 9 to 20% were female players, depending upon the morph type, making it clear that not only has morphs been a consistent form of technological nonverbal communication, but it has been a diverse demographic. While it's obvious to see that morphs welcome anyone, the reasons as to why are unclear. There have been plenty of theories, but none have really been investigated thoroughly. A researcher a part of the Springer study attempted to unravel this and came up with 5 sound theories, which are achievement, relationship, immersion, escapism, and manipulation. The first theory was strongly associated with male players and states that male players are attracted to morphs due to the fact that they can achieve power and through the completion of goals and the accumulation of items that confer power. With this item, the researchers thought that male players play morphs due to their strongest motivations being fulfilled. The next theory became strongly associated with the female demographic who play morphs, hypothesizing that morphs fill women's natural desire for relationships, that female players can connect with different players in a particular morph and interact with them in a way similar to a relationship. The next theory applies to both demographics that play morphs. It states that people play morphs because they enjoy being in a fantasy world, and play morphs because they can be someone else. The next theory is similar, but it centers on how some players choose to play morphs due to the fact that while being involved in the game's fictional realm, they can escape the stressors of real life, and for the hour of playing, ignore stressors that may overwhelm them. The last theory again deals with changing environment or achieving a sense of goals. Some players are involved with morphs to manipulate its environment and omit less favorable factors in the environment. This is obvious to state that morphs can host a variety of reasons, but all affect the same purpose. That through morphs, players can not only communicate non-verbally, but have a short period of their life fully immersed in the game and a part of the world, leaving the facts of reality and communicating with fellow players who share a passion for morphs. Morphs also have a long history that can be traced back to the 70s. One of the first morph games during this time was a game called Maze Wars, an online game with no clear graphics but only a display board that would list a virtual world and the player typing in what action their character would do. Although these type of games did not have any of the lifelike images they have today, Maze Wars provided a stepping stone for many later games. It was not until the 1980s when role-playing was taken to the next level. Lucasfilm Games created Habitat, a game that actually displayed a real world and one of the main characters in them, avatars. Habitat was the first game to show avatars and allowed players to communicate with each other. This then led to the development of even more avatars during different games in the 90s, such as EverQuest and Asheron's Call. Today, some of the famous morphs show their influence to these earlier trailblazers. Lastly, like any other form of nonverbal communication, morphs have great benefits and downfalls. Morphs allow players from across the country to connect with one another and give an interactive way for players to communicate. Morphs are also another source of technology for people to keep in touch and forge new relationships. Of course, morphs could also grow to become an obsession if not dealt with carefully. Some people may grow too dependent on morphs or may place morphs before essential things in their life, such as studies. Morphs could also add on another chance for people to communicate inappropriately with one another, just like any other social networking. In conclusion, morphs are meant to be a way for people to communicate, but it can also be a chance for people to communicate in a more harmful way than good. What can be drawn from this is that morphs could either be a positive or a negative. The direction in which a morph is taken is solely dependent on the players who decide. This is just one way that nonverbal communication can reach people, and one of its many influences on our society.